You can change. You can change everything in your life. Your life is flexible. Your identity is completely flexible. So once you understand that and integrate that, you can choose to be whoever you want. And it's just a question of getting used to being that new version of you. Then things are gonna be easier for you. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jane and today I am going to teach you how to become a new version of you, how to shift your timeline from where you're right now to where you want to go. So you have all those dreams, all those goals, this vision for yourself that you want to accomplish, and you know that it does take a new version of you to get there, because the you that got you here is not the you that will get you there. And so you know that you need to transform into that new version of you who has what she or he wants. And that version of you is different from the current version of you, because different actions equal different results. If you keep going with the current version of you, you will keep having the same results. So you know that you need to shift some of those things, behaviors, feelings, beliefs in order for you to get what you want. So the first step in all of this is actually knowing what you want. What is your vision? What are your goals? What it is that you want to accomplish? What is important for you to accomplish in your life? What's your goal? Once you know that, you need to write it down. How does this new version of you feels, thinks, acts? What does she or he do in her day? I recommend you to write this down because you're going to need to remember that new version of you and that you are that. All right, because right now you're on autopilot with the version of you that's current, and for you to transform and to change your identity and to shift into that new version of you, you need to remember that at times, right? So I recommend you to write down with detail, how does this new version of you who has what she or he wants, how do you feel, how do you act, what do you think, what's your morning routine, what are your habits, what's important for you, how do you show up? All these things need to be written down for you to really have like almost like a contract with yourself. You can even sign the paper and you're like, I am this right now, I have decided, because it's all a question of choosing, of deciding who you are, choosing who you want to be, and then sticking to that version of you. Because your identity is flexible, it's completely flexible. You can become who you want, you can become whoever you want. And so with this, you just need to decide and choose to be that new version of you consistently enough so that becomes your dominant reality, so that becomes your dominant vibration. You need to decide that this is the new you. And once you've done that, you need to behave like her or like him. And at the beginning, it's gonna feel a bit weird because you think that you're not that version of you, that you think that you need to do all these things to be able to be this person, but no, you already are. That is the thing, you already are. It's inside of you. You just need to let her or let him out, right? It's just a question of changing your mindset around what is your identity. Your identity is flexible. You can choose. You were born into an environment with a certain set of programming, but that doesn't mean that you have to stick to that. If you're not comfortable, or if you think that you want more, or whatever it is, you can change. You can change everything in your life. Your life is flexible. Your identity is completely flexible. So once you understand that and integrate that, you can choose to be whoever you want. And it's just a question of getting used to being that new version of you. Then things are gonna be easier for you. The key here to embody that new version of you is that your emotions, your body, and your mind have to agree on that, have to align on that new version of you. The key here is feeling that the desires that you want are safe for you. So mentally, you can want something, you can desire a healthy relationship, you can desire to be a millionaire, you can desire to have a healthy, fit body. But if in your body that doesn't feel safe for you, then it's going to be difficult for you to attract that and to be that, right? So the first step here is to make sure that your mind, your body, and your emotions, your feelings agree on that desire. So my suggestion for you is to start with small things that you know can be possible for you, and then build up on that. Once your confidence builds up, you can add more and more desires because you feel more and more deserving, and you give yourself more and more permission to be safe around those things that you want. You need to start with desires that feel coherent for you right now, that feel reachable for you right now. If, for example, being a millionaire for you right now doesn't feel very coherent with you, doesn't feel very true, it does feel really far away, start with something else. Start with $1,000 or $2,000, or $10,000. Whatever you're comfortable with will be your next step, right? And once you are in that next step, you'll be more confident. You'll be like, I can actually have this. And you need to get comfortable with that new version of you so that it's natural for you to have that amount of money. It's natural for you to have a healthy relationship. It's natural for you to live abroad if you want to live abroad, right? Get comfortable with the small steps first, and that will just propel you further into, okay, I know that I can have what I want because I know it's possible for me. Make sense? If you don't feel safe around your desires, if you feel like they're not true, you need to do some mindset work, some inner work around those subconscious beliefs that you hold that are opposite from your desires. If you hold beliefs that are opposite from your desires, you're gonna block yourself from receiving your desires because your body, your mind, something's not on board. Something is telling you, I don't feel quite comfortable with this. So you need to look at those beliefs and look at those narratives that say, I can't have it because. So write down on paper all the reasons why you can't have it, right? And look at those. Are they true? And if they're not true, then how can you change that narrative? How can you feel more safe in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, in your feelings around your desire, right? Because the only thing that is blocking you from receiving what you want is yourself and your inner narratives that are running in the background. So maybe someone told you that you are not enough because you had bad grades, and now as an adult you're like, whatever I do, I don't feel that I'm good enough. I don't feel like my success will be tied to my work because I am not good enough, right? Or maybe someone abandoned you, one of your parents, one of your caretakers, someone in your life that was very dear to you completely left, and so inside you feel like you're not lovable, that you're not enough, that you are wrong, that something's wrong with you, right? So if you have those things still lingering around, you need to look at those because that's blocking you, right? So that's inner work. And the more trauma you have experienced or survived from, the more transformation you will get. And also, the deeper the inner work is. And I don't recommend you to do this on your own because opening up things from your past can be very painful. So I do recommend you to hire a therapist, hire a coach, someone that is a professional who knows how to hold a safe space for you so that you can unravel that trauma and not feel identified with that trauma anymore. Because if you do identify with those beliefs of I am not good enough, I am not lovable, something is wrong with me, if you still identify with those, how can you expect to receive what you want? Because receiving what you want entails that you feel worthy of it, that you feel like you're an abundant being, that you feel like you're lovable and you're worthy. And so you need to change that. Because if your base vibration is of lack, it's very difficult for you to get abundance, right? Because you're experiencing an abundance of lack, if that makes sense. So My advice here for you would be just go and hire a therapist or a coach or someone who can help you be there for you in those difficult times, because the rewarding thing about working on your trauma is that once you've worked on it, your life changes for the better, because you're no longer attached to those stories. Maybe you're sick and tired of those old stories that keep you tied to that old version of you that you know you don't want to be anymore, but you're still in there. So take the step. You can start journaling. It's free completely. It's something that everybody can do. You can just put your thoughts on paper and start feeling your feelings, right? But when it gets too much, please go ahead and find some support. Okay, there's a lot of support available. There's free support online as well. And I will link down below some of the journals that I have created that take you to the process of rewiring your subconscious beliefs so that you can manifest or become or embody that version of you with more ease, so that you can actually think that your desires are true and manifest those. So go ahead and download the journals. That process you can do on your own. Is very easy. It's the starting work. It's the starting ground for you to get started with that inner work, so that you allow yourself to release those past patterns and that old identity. Who you don't want to be anymore needs to be released in the past, and you need to step up into that new version. And to step up into that new version, you need to choose a new narrative and let go of the old ones, right? This step is very important. You can't miss that. Otherwise, you're not gonna jump and shift timelines, right? You also need to be ready to let go of your old identity. Listen, we are creatures of habit, okay? Once we get used to something, that's what we do. So the thing is, when you want to become a new version of you, or to quantum jump, shift a timeline, there's gonna be discomfort. You gotta be prepared to feel the discomfort. If you're someone who's used to exercising, going to the gym, you know this. You know that at the beginning, it's hard, because you're getting used to new movements in your body. You're getting used to a new routine. But once you do that for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and you continuously do that, then it becomes a part of you. It's natural for you. And you just go because it's who you are, right? So that's what you want. You want to rehearse that or train yourself to be that new version of you until it becomes you, and it will become you. There is no way you won't become that new version of you if you're consistent enough. This is just how it works. This is the law. So you need to decide who you are, and you need to be prepared for the discomfort, and you need to go for it all in. You need to be all in, because if there is doubt in you still that you're comfortable with who you were before, you're gonna go back and forth between that old version of you, or that current version of you, and that new version of you, and you're not going to step in completely and fully. You're going to just be in that confused state of energy. So you do need to decide, and you do need to go all in. If you find yourself going back to old habits that you know don't serve you, or seeing people that you know are not good for you, and if you find yourself going back to that old identity of yours, know that one, it's okay. It is fine. It's not because you make mistakes, it's not because you go back that you can't shift again, right? The whole work here is to shift, is to understand that every opportunity that is presented to you is there for you to choose who you really are, right? Something that you need to understand also is that fear is there and comes up to avoid discomfort. So when you start getting uncomfortable, guess what? Your fear, your ego is going to tell you, oh, but I would rather stay in bed today, or I would rather eat at McDonald's, or I would rather, do something that is not aligned with who you decided you were. And that's just your fear. You just need to understand that that's your fear wanting to keep you comfortable, wanting to avoid discomfort. So you need to be aware of that. And when that comes up, when that fear is there, you need to treat it like it is, like a fear. And you will see that when you go back to those old habits or old people as the new version of you, those old things won't be as good as they were before. Those old habits will not feel the same because you have evolved. Okay? Those old habits were there to meet your needs of safety, of love, of validation, of whatever, right? If now you meet your needs with something else, those things are not gonna happen anymore. Those things are not gonna feel good for you anymore because you're not that person anymore, okay? So you need to understand that we are creatures of habit, and so that discomfort is going to show up because your new you, that new version of you, is not familiar to you yet. It's the first time that you behave like this. It's the first time that you show up. It's new. And so with everything new, you have to have patience with yourself and grace with yourself, okay? Because that's something new. And with everything new, there is discomfort at the beginning, okay? It's a short-term discomfort for a long-term happiness. So if you go through that discomfort at the beginning, then it will just become easier and easier, and it will just be you, because this is who you are now, right? But you need to decide and consistently decide that this is you now. Every opportunity that comes up is an opportunity for you to shift into who you choose to be. This work of shifting your identity and shifting timelines, it's an everyday work of the micro decisions that you make. This goes for what you eat, at what time you wake up, how you show up. All of those micro decisions during your day will have a compound effect that will transform you into the person that you want to be, that you choose to be. It's in the tiny moments. It's in the little things. How are you gonna treat this person crossing the street? Or like, you're gonna read a book instead of scrolling on social media? Are you going to spend time watching TV instead of going to sleep? Are you going to wake up on time? Are you going to exercise today? Are you going to follow your passion? Are you going to do something today that sparks that creativity in you? It's all of those micro decisions, right? So becoming that new version of you, it's about letting them out, letting she or he out, and let that person decide for you. It's like letting yourself be run by that new version of you. Imagine that the new version of you is your boss, okay? Imagine that she or he is your boss. So what would they tell you to do? And you just have to do it, okay? That's how it works. Think of this like you're in training, okay? You're following a training by your higher self. So that's why I recommend to write it down, to write down who is that version of you, what does she do, how does she show up, what does she eat, at what time does she wake up, all of those things, and progressively shifting those habits in your life, right? And you might think, oh, it's gonna take a lot of time, but listen, time is relative. Things go really fast right now. This is the moment. This, if you want to change your life, this is the moment, okay? So go for it. And every time that you remember who you choose to be and you act like that, you're confirming into the 3D, into the physical reality, that reality that you want to see. So everything counts. Everything counts. And remember, if you go back to your old identity, to your old habits, it is normal because it's like what you got used to for so many years, and now it's a new thing, it's a new identity. But this is about your long-term goals. Your long-term happiness in your future you will thank you for going through that period of discomfort at the beginning, so that you can step into that version of you, who you know that you really are, okay? So focus on you, focus on your path, journal, get some support if you need to do some intense therapy on some trauma that's blocking you, and just decide, okay? You can change your life. You're flexible, your identity is flexible, you can do this. Thank you for watching this video, thank you for being here. Leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and I will see you in the next one.